all pre-season it's been about running and having the ability to run out games. And look, today, as we showed, we did that, and in every other game we've done that too. So in terms of going forward and what we can improve on, we still conceded over 100 points today, which isn't what we want. So as with anything, mate, there's always room for improvement. So that's one area we'll focus on.
And personally, how have you been improved on your goal kicking? 7 terrific goals today. What's a particular regime or particular program you have in your goal kicking?
To be honest, mate, I don't really have one. Some days, they come off really well. Some days they don't. But for me, it's, I just steam in and try and just kick it over the goal umpire's hat. What you taught from a young age. And as I said, it was nice that it worked today.
What does it mean to be, 7-0 and beating every other opponent in the league or in Division 2?
Oh, well, I mean, it's huge. And at the minute, it signifies that, we're probably the best team in the league. But as I stress, and, we're all stressing here, it's only the end of May, isn't it? So we're only 7 games in. We're already focused on Keilor Park next week and then having the bye, and then we've got the 2 new boys after that as well. And we just want to keep building, mate. So at the minute, it's very nice, but we want to achieve a lot more than this.
Well, we'll let Tim sing the song. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you very much, Tim
Thanks for
Blacker.
your time. Congratulations.
What it was like to oversee that performance.
Obviously, the result was fantastic. There was a couple of hairy moments there. I thought early we sort of let them dictate a fair bit, and we talked about that, about our strengths, probably our run, carry, and use of the footy. I thought the second quarter we really got that back and played some really good football. Third quarter again, I thought we let them dictate again to us a little bit, and they put some score on the board. They probably could have hurt us a bit more in that third quarter. And then the last quarter I thought was fantastic. We got our game back, running hard, chasing, working for each other, which is all our strengths, and got the result, I suppose.
Paul, congratulations on the win. The one thing I was really impressed with throughout the day was the attack, the pressure inside attacking 50. I thought you guys tackled really well. Players like Harley Short, I reckon he's a real hard player, and even Matt Mickleson at times, his defensive pressure inside attacking 50 was, I thought, what won you guys the game. You must have been really happy with the effort or the defensive efforts across the ground, not just in the back line.
Well, yeah, and we talked about that after the first quarter. Our defence has to be equal to, if not better than, our attack, and we train to do that. We play to do that, and even inside the 50 today, we had a 15-year-old in Brad Dimich and a 16-year-old in Matty Walker, and then we had first gamer from the 18s, Brock Heathgate. And that was their job. We spoke to them before the game. The job is every week to put pressure on up there. And they seem to do it week in, week out. And if it's not working, we just rotate them through. We've got a few options in that area, but their game is forget the goals. Their game is put pressure on when the other team's got the footy. And they seem to do it pretty well most of the time.
Paul, is the most impressive part of this win today the fact that you do have so many youngsters in this lineup? I mean, East Keilor, rightly or wrongly, premiership favourites, at least going into today's game. A lot of people talking them up prior to the season. You guys did have a lot of youngsters out there today. I know they might have had a couple as well. Downhill was back, obviously, but how impressive is that considering your 22 was made up of so many youngsters, and to do that against top quality opposition? Yeah,
well, I'm sort of the belief, your good kids should be starting to play the seniors around this level, the Division 2 level. If they've got a bit in them, you've got to give them a chance. And like I said, we try them. I think that's Brad Dimich's maybe 5th game for the year, and he's been in our top 5, 6 every game that he's played with us. Matty Walker is just a sensation. I think he broke into the seniors last year, and this year he's easily our best 3 most games. His work rate's fantastic. When he's got the footy, he's lethal, and he works just as hard back. But there's some terrific youth here. We've still got another, I've just spoken to him, then another probably 3 or 4 from the 18s we want to try. Wow. There's a young kid in the EDFL side, Kappa, in the 16 side. He'll get a game at some stage. And, we're just going to keep rotating them through. We go by form. There's a couple of guys who are probably stiff to miss out today, but their form wasn't where it should have been last week, so they go back, and we pick the ones who are having form, and that's the way I'll always be, and I've told them that from the moment I got here.
Mick Mickleson kicked 3 in the first quarter, and then he was double and sometimes triple teamed, and it let Blacker get a one-on-one, and then they'd go double team Blacker, and Mickleson, when he's one-on-one, he beats his man on the lead every time, it seems. It must be pleasing for you as a coach to know that East Keilor are trying, they're switching it up, they're changing their strategy, and they just couldn't find a way to put out the fires in that forward line.
No, well, that's the other thing we pride ourselves. We don't train to kick to Miko, and we don't train to kick to Timmy. We train to have 5, 6 options inside 50. Miko, I come here, and there was talk of he could handle it. He might be able to play a forward role, this, that. And we watch him train, and you see the respect the guys have for him, and suddenly it's all happened for him this year. It's all clicked. His work rate goes up hard. Like you said, the chasing's been fantastic. But he works hard on the track too. He's first there. He's normally there by 4:30, 4:45, and he's practicing his goal kicking, practicing his leading. So it's all coming together. But Timmy Blacker gives us a huge, when we can free him up and we push Tommy forward or a Macca forward, gives us a lot of options up forward, and we rotate those with the desperate smalls, I guess we call them, and it creates a good mix. Yeah, it does create a good mix.
One thing we noticed in the first and second quarters was that Caruso and Madden had a lot of leeway, at times no man running directly with them. Was it a matter of the coaching panel saying lockdown, or was it more just their own opponents out there on the field recognised that they weren't being accountable and decided to go and shut them down a bit more? Because it seemed as though after about the 20-minute mark of the second quarter, there was no more easy ball for either of them, given they'd really dominated the first quarter and a half.
Yeah, we picked up. Probably before the game, we focused in on maybe 4 or 5 of their boys, and then we just sort of said we'd see how it go. We sort of back ourselves a fair bit. After the first quarter, a couple of guys come to me and mentioned they were getting off the chain a bit too easy, and that, so we clamped down a little bit. Probably after half-time, we really put the clamps on them, a couple of their players anyway. But most of the time, like I said, we've got to back ourselves and our strengths, and I think when we play to those, which is our run, our hitting the footy hard, pressure when we haven't got it, and our use when we have got it, like I said, I think we can match it with most teams in the comp. The day we don't bring it, well, we'll have to see what happens, but so far, so good. And, they've got a bit of belief now, the boys, so everything's going nicely at the moment anyway.
Paul, I've got a little bit of a two-part question. Firstly, I feel that it's a good toss to win here, and it seems that northern end of the ground is definitely the scoring end of the ground. Halfway through that second quarter, the siren sounded, and you guys seemed down and out at that stage, and suddenly there was a real surge of momentum, and it almost sort of triggered a momentum shift towards you guys. Was that just something that happened naturally, or because I think at that stage of the game, Taylor, I think that
22 points down.
22 points down when the siren went at the 13-minute mark of the second quarter, and suddenly you led the quarter at half, or you led the match at half time by 4 points there.
Yeah, like I said, I thought the first quarter, and we talked about it, we let them dictate how to play football, and we sort of were just not backing ourselves and not working hard enough. I thought when Jamie Grant went down the back pocket and added a bit of mongrel and a bit of hardness there, I thought the game changed then. I said it to him. I thought he really turned it around then with his work rate. Then we had young CG up forward, was starting to put some pressure on them as well. Harley got going in the midfield. I just thought it stemmed from Jamie Grant winning a couple of hard balls across half back, and then it sort of flowed on from everyone sort of jumped on board. And he's vice-captain, so he's got to lead by example. I thought Ben Stone did some courageous stuff at times too in the game, which helps. And Macca's just a solid truck down the back line. That he backs himself. We talk to him about plays he's got to play on, but he always gives you the nod and says, "I'll back myself." And that's the way he plays football, and it works. And the boys sort of jump on their coattails once they're up and about. Once the leaders lead, like I say to them all the time, leaders lead, and the rest will follow. And it seems to happen in games once they pick it up. Our leadership group.
Paul, you've now seen every opponent in Division 2. Has your opinion changed about where Roxy sits in this division?
Not really. It's hard to say. When I got here, we saw the list and we thought, it's good. They've had a bit of experience. I have to thank the previous coach. Obviously, a few of the young guys got a bit of game time. Then we were lucky enough to add a little bit to that, which is a bit of quality, the Tim Blackers and the Shawnee O'Callaghan's and that. And we thought we're a big chance. But I still say to the boys, and I'll still say it to them this Tuesday, the day we don't bring our game, we can lose to anyone. Like that first quarter, if we had played like that all day, I'd say we would have been pretty disappointed right now. But like I said, when we play our good football and work to our strengths and back ourselves, especially defensively, we work hard getting back as hard as we do pushing forward. Yeah, I'm pretty confident most games. People ask me today, were you nervous before the game? I said, no, not if we play well. And that's the main thing to us, is if we play well. But like I said, the Moonee Valleys, the Coburgs, the East Keilors, they're always a challenge. If we don't bring our game, they'll knock us off. So we just have to keep going with our strengths and playing to our strengths. And at the moment, it's working marvellous, and hopefully things continue on.
Well, I don't know if you know, Moonee Valley got knocked off by Jacana today in a surprise result.
Did they really?
So, there's been a few surprises in all three divisions.
That's
that
what I
one
mean.
in
If you don't bring
particular,
your game, you're in a bit of trouble.
Paul, you mentioned that you weren't nervous before the game. What about in the last quarter when the young fella, Brad Dimich, kicked a goal, and then we saw a little bit of ugly stuff ensue? What's your message to the runner at that stage, and what do you want to get out to the players at that stage of the game?
Well, the message to the runner was, tell the boys the ball's back in the middle of the ground, because I'm really not one for that. I like hardness at the football, and I've told these guys, a few of them really pulled their heads in, and I said, we're not about touchy, pushy, shovey stuff. We want to win the football when it's hard. So I was pretty disappointed with what happened over there, and we'll talk about that Tuesday, because, like I said, a close game, that could have cost us the game, doing stuff like that. We look up and the midfield's got 3 players to 4 in there. The back line's missing 3 blokes. That's bad discipline, and our discipline's been our strength so far. So, they were disappointed with it. A few of them mentioned already, but we'll go right through that Tuesday, because that sort of stuff just can't happen.
Paul, congratulations on the win. 7-0, top of the division, and we look forward to seeing Roxburgh Park again later in the season. I'm sure that we'll be back commentating more of your games, and a very entertaining performance today. Congratulations.
Thanks very much. Thanks for the time.
So, not the result you wanted, Dave. Tell us about your thoughts on the defeat.
Oh, look, Roxy were just very good, I suppose. They were just a better side. They definitely outplayed, especially after half-time. I think, it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes to go in the second quarter. We were 9 goals to 6, so at that stage, they've kicked 14 of the next 20 goals. Outran us, but a lot of young kids, but geez, they can play some football. We went away from a lot of the stuff that we do well. We panicked under pressure. Probably our leaders didn't stand up as much, and not just our leaders, but our most experienced players. We started kicking out, and it was just, we had no one presenting, and that's just panic football. You haven't been in that situation a lot, and all of a sudden, you got caught out.
One thing we noticed here in the box that turned the game was Caruso and Madden were running riot in the first half, and then Roxburgh Park really locked down on them after half-time. Was there much they could have done to try and break those tags or break the attention? Because it seemed without their drive, you really struggled to move the ball end to end.
Look, we rotate heavily. We have a lot of blokes who go through the middle, and we're pretty confident with everyone that goes in the middle. So, Geordie was playing really well. So was Markey. We still try to mix it up. CJ Gramsus was in there, and Daniel Neville, and I threw in, Dion Hill and Scott Eldridge had a run in there. Vinny Madaffrey went pretty well in the third quarter. So, we got the confidence in a lot of people. We probably have an 8 or 9 group that go through there, so we don't rely heavily just on 2 people. Now, if them 2 who are playing well, they get shut down, it's probably not up to them always. It's maybe then the next 2 need to stand up and be better. And that probably, like I said, it happened in patches. Vinny was very good. Vinny Madaffrey was great in the third quarter. But, then last quarter, we just didn't have enough people who stood up when it counted. And, like I said, they moved it well.
One thing which has been a real source of confusion and interest for us was there were a few kids here in the score box, and one of them fell on the siren halfway through the second quarter. You were 22 points up at that stage, and then Roxburgh Park kicked 4 goals unanswered after that to end the quarter. I mean, was there anything mentally that could have happened that siren accidentally going off could have caused, or was it just pure coincidence?
Oh, I don't think so. Look, at the end of the day, you're playing football out there. I think it was a boundary throw, and I don't think we had the football at the time, so it's not as if the stoppage went for long. It wasn't a big break like a stretch or anything like that. It was just, as I said, maybe we got ahead of ourselves, and then they got up and running, and it's amazing once you get momentum in this game of football and you're up and about. Even when they were 4 goals down, they kick a goal and they were pretty loud and vocal and got around each other, whereas I think when we did it, like I said, maybe they just thought, our boys thought it was going to happen, and it didn't.
Dave, what lessons can you learn defensively today? Tim Black has 7 goals, Matt Mickleson 5, even Brent Freeman as a sort of third option with 3 goals as well. Obviously, Roxburgh Park are very potent inside 50. You would have known that going in, but they really stretched your backline today. What can you take out of that going forward?
Oh, I suppose their backline's got to be better. Look, our backline have done well, extremely well over a year and a bit period. It's been fairly stable. Similar blokes been down there even last year, and it's a pretty young group. You got Danny Lysett, who doesn't get beat too often. Unfortunately, he did today. Luke McCormack, similar situation, doesn't get beat too often. So sometimes you can put it down as just a one bad game. I mean, we've got a few others who can run through defensively, but again, I'll probably put that down. We didn't have a lot of pressure coming through the middle of the ground. It's not just our mids, but even our half forwards and our wings. I mean, some of the kicks that they got, they were lace out. And I mean, if you're going to let a player run with the football 5-10 metres and not put any major pressure on him, even if it's perceived pressure, geez, it's a pretty hard job for your back line. But yeah, look, they got beat today, and as I said, I don't think we'll change too much, to be honest. I'll back him in again next time, and if they do it to us again, then I might have a few headaches.
Dave, just on that third quarter, I thought that you maybe didn't make the most of the opportunities heading towards that northern end of the ground. Did you guys feel that was the scoring end of the ground after winning the toss and kicking that way in the first quarter?
Look, early in the game, I thought we dominated. I really did. I thought we had 60 to 70% of the play. We weren't clean going inside 50, whereas they were. Like in the first quarter, I think they were 1 or 2 goals behind us, but geez, we seemed to get, we would have had 12, 15 inside 50s, and they probably only had half a dozen, 6 or 7, but they scored at every opportunity, which is credit to their forward line, or maybe credit to their midfield, just helping them out in that respect. But, you're probably right that we had a lot of inside 50s and we just didn't make the most of it. And as I said, our forwards have been a lot cleaner, but then in the last quarter they dominated. They had 22 inside 50s. That's huge. So.
I really like the work of Mondio early on. He seems to provide a real hardness at the contest. but his influence sort of faded out, and he missed a few set shots at goal. Did you think that maybe you just needed to obviously convert a few more of your opportunities inside 50 earlier on in that game?
Oh, look, yeah, definitely. I mean, if we were 3 goals up at one stage, if that becomes 5 or 6, maybe they're not up and about as much as they were. Being 3, the moment they get 1, they're back to 2, and it's anybody's ball game. With Mondi, I mean, he's doing a power of work. He pretty much rucks 70 to 80% of the game. Yeah. We definitely miss Robbie Davis. I mean, he'll probably be out. He got injured, unfortunately, in the Keilor Park game. Probably won't come back till after the break. You know, he's our tallest, probably our number 1 ruck, which releases Mondi a bit more around the ground, you know, centre forward, things like that. So that hurts a bit because we're sort of playing people that aren't necessarily genuine ruckmen to help Mondi. But what it does do, the more we keep Mondi in there, by the end of the game, like you said, his influence probably diminishes a little bit. So it works both ways there. But as I said, when Robbie comes back, you know, it might be a different story.
Sorry, you go.
I was just going to ask Dave, you sort of led into that question I was about to ask, just how close you are to your best 22 at the moment in terms of full strength. I mean, I know there's a few kids running through the side at the moment. Charles Vanderbilt did some good things today. Dion Hill, was that his first game for the year? Or
that was his first game, yeah. He's been out injured from Coburg for about 6 weeks. So it was his first game back, you know, and he looked a bit rusty. So, but that's all right. He's a kid, and you know he'll only get better. Whether we get him for very long, I'm not sure. Hopefully, we have him maybe for 1 more, and then he'll probably get back up into the Coburg group. And if he's playing well enough, he'll get some senior football. But yeah, look, unfortunately, every week we've probably had 3, 4. And that's not an excuse because the side I had in the park today was probably as good as I've had all year. But we always seem to miss, you know, 3, 4 players, and it does hurt you sometimes. Like it hurt us. I think the ruckman definitely hurts us. You know, not having Robbie. You know, Rutts didn't play today. Robbie Rutley didn't play today. Unfortunately, he was away, unavailable. You know, we had one of our little on-ballers, an extra on-baller who goes through rotations. You know, Nick Abley, he was out injured. So, but again, like you know, the side I had out there today, I was very confident going into the game, and yeah, they got outplayed.
You would have given away 6 or 7 goals from either free kicks or 50-metre penalties. We only thought one of them was dubious here in the box, I think in the third quarter. Most of the other ones seem to be fairly blatant free kicks. Is that something you need to rein in, or would you prefer players make mistakes doing those sort of things rather than be apprehensive or hold back in those situations in the back 50?
There's a fine line, I suppose, when you want your play to attack the ball as hard as they possibly can, but you just need to be smart. You know, like if they go to ground, you don't necessarily need to go to ground with them, because the moment you go to ground with them, odds are you kind of probably lean in their back for a kick. There was a couple of dubious ones that, you know, went, you know, the one in the end where they called the throw against Scotty. That was, I think, first quarter. You know, there wasn't much in that. He just tried to punch it out. He did scoop it. But, look, at the end of the day, umpires always make mistakes. Sometimes they get it right, sometimes they get it wrong. And I wouldn't say they cost us because, you know, there's no doubt that we were just outplayed.
Curious to know what sort of mood was within the playing group after the game today. It was clear they were getting frustrated, especially towards the end and undisciplined acts, whatnot. But what's the mood like in the dressing room at the moment?
Oh, look, it's disappointing. You know, a bit of sombre, I suppose. But, you know, first thing I said to him in there, I said, you know what? Guess what? We're 6-1, and we're sitting second on the ladder, and we're a game behind the favourites. Maybe people were tagging us, and I said, you know, maybe people, and a lot of it comes from outside. That's the unfortunate part. Like, you know, it's your supporters and it's other people's supporters, and they just start saying how good people are or how good you are, and players, they're human, and they start believing everything that gets said to them. And what it does do today is we got a wake-up call. We learnt that we have to go week by week, and we have to play good football, and we've got to work hard for that Saturday coming up. And I mean, in one way, it's a lesson learnt, and it's a good lesson learnt. And don't get me wrong, I'd rather win every game. I'm never going to say that, you know, you have a good loss or a loss is good to have. That's a lot of crap. I mean, at the end of the day, if you can win every game, you win every game of football you can. You win every game of anything you play you can, and that's the way you should have the mentality. So, yeah, they're majorly disappointed, probably disappointed with their own efforts. As I said to them, I think every single one of those guys can put their hand up and say at some stage today they let their teammate down, whether that means they weren't playing to a plan or a structure, whether they didn't get across to put a block on, whether they just didn't present, whether they had a go at me or had a go at a runner. It's frustration, and it's caused because of losing. And you know what? They'll learn from it, and we'll go back to the drawing board. But at the end of the day, we're still second on the ladder, and that's fine.
Dave, thanks so much for joining us on EDFL Review. We appreciate your honesty and your generosity with your time after a loss, and all the best turning it around in the coming weeks. And we look forward to seeing East Keilor again later in the season.
Nah, not a problem. Cheers for having us, and talk again.
Pretty rough with that. Timmy's a good player, I reckon.
But, yeah, it was good. Do you do any work together at training just to get the chemistry right?
Yeah, it's good. He's fitted in the club really well. Everyone gets around him. He's a good bloke. It's pretty good.
Matt, congratulations on the win. I thought you guys were super impressive up forward, but I also thought some of these young players, they're quite incredible. Matt Walker, for me, was the one that really stood out. And the poise of young Bradley Dimich, he knew that the pressure was coming there in the last quarter. He ran into the open goal, and sometimes they're the hardest ones to kick wrong side for a right footer. Some of those young players just really impressed me, and Brock Heathcott on debut as well today. You must be really happy to be working with those type of guys.
Yeah, it's good, mate. This is what this club's about. It's about the youth. We've always, even in the hard times, we're always playing the kids, and this is where we're at now. The boys have been in the system probably three or 4 weeks, 3 or 4 seasons. So now we're finally starting to string together some teams, and we're finally people are starting to take notice that we're actually half decent.
What was some of the chat in that East Keilor backline? Because you kick the first 3 goals for your team, then you start getting double team, triple team, and then Blacker gets loose, and then in the last quarter, Freeman gets loose because all the attention's on yourself and Blacker. I mean, were they at a loss as to how to stop things? Because East Keilor's coach told us that he thought the delivery didn't give their backline the greatest chance. But I mean, what are some of your thoughts actually out there playing the game?
Yeah, to be honest, I was riding the wave. It was amazing out there. I didn't really take notice of what they were. I was more worried about what our boys were doing and celebrating every goal because we knew we could do really well if we kept running over the top of them.
You certainly were celebrating, especially that last goal. You're looking forward to seeing the replay of your celebration there? Because I certainly am.
Apparently like the video of an idiot, yeah.
What about the crowd, the momentum? Yeah, as you said, this is what the club's about, but I mean, this would have been one of the biggest games that the club has played since its formation and coming into the EDFL. The crowds are getting bigger. There's more media attention and a bit more of a buzz. What's it like to actually be a part of this club in what really is its breakout year?
Yeah, it was great. It was amazing. I've never seen so many people here. There was cars all around the ground. There was people all around the goal square. They were loud. It was beautiful. It was awesome.
Is it an important result in terms of, I suppose, big game experience? Because the way you're going at the moment, you're headed for September.
Yeah,
there might be a date at Windy Hill coming up. I mean, is a day like today good?
We don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but we knew that our best football, we could give anyone a shake, and hopefully we put on a good show.
What about Paul Derrick? I mean, what were the quarter huddles like, and what was his message like during on a day like today? Do you get to take in a lot of it, or is it the sort of thing where you need to get into the huddle and actually listen because it's a key game and you're just sort of sweating on whatever advice he might be giving?
He's really composed, just saying we knew that if we could keep running and keep attacking the ball and keep going, we could actually try and get the 4 points. So he was really composed.
So, and also, Matt, just want to talk about some of the midfielders. You got some pretty good delivery. We spoke of already the young fella, Matt Walker. I thought Harley Short did a really good job today, and there were plenty of winners around the ground. Carlos Adem, I thought he was really good further up the ground. You must be really happy with the delivery that comes into you as a forward.
I said that to a few of the boys today. I said, this is awesome. This is the best of it I've felt all season. The delivery today was spot on. I felt sorry for the guy I was playing on because the kicks were going that was so good.
What about? Sorry, you go.
Now you go to have.
We've been told you're a cricketer, and they had to twist your arm to get you to play footy.
Yeah.
Who do you actually play cricket for, and what has this run of 7 weeks done to improve your love of Aussie rules?
I play cricket over in Reservoir. I've been there since I was 15, and I've always played at Roxburgh, but I've never come till after Christmas and been a bit lazy. But I've spoken to Desi, and Desi got me over, told me what it's all about, and I really want to try and get fit and see what I can do. Try to help with the team, obviously.
Did you think you could go this well? You've kicked 41 goals now in the first
shocked.
7 weeks.
I'm still shocked. I've got no idea.
So you just said then that you're still trying to get fit, so you're not at full fitness
I don't
yet?
feel fit out there. I don't feel fit whatsoever.
I think I could be at full fitness and kick four goals for about 10 seasons. But what about tonight? What happens tonight? Do the boys get around each other? Can you tell us what would happen on radio, or is it not the right
It's
radio?
only round 7, so we don't want to act as if we won the premiership today. We'll go. We normally do recovery on a Monday. We go down the pools and get all the soreness out and have a look at Tuesday and see what Keilor Park's all about.
Well avoided.
It's funny. Timmy did tell us something similar. You guys are really hell-bent on keeping a lid on it at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah.
I mean, you have knocked off every single team now. East Keilor were the clear favourites for Division 2 coming into the season.
We've been through a lot at this club. We've been on the end of massive hidings, and we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. We just want to concentrate every week. Some of the hidings we copped were in excess of 200 points, so it's finally good to start getting some wins and building a bit of a winning construct.
But it really sounds like you want to do it properly though as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good.
Oh, well, it was a fascinating game today, and we're really thrilled that we got such an entertaining match. I'm glad that the crowd showed up, and it was one of the bigger Roxy crowds as well. Congratulations on your own performance and the team's win, and I'm sure we'll be calling more Roxburgh Park games later in the season. So well done, Matt, and thanks for joining us after the game.
Thanks for having me. Cheers.
Matt Mickleson there from Roxburgh Park.